Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be part 5 of my complete science fiction and horror DVD collection. But before I get to that, I want to give a special shout out to a YouTube friend of mine named 4K Frank, who sent me this package. Came a couple of days ago. A very well taped package. Frank, I hope you didn't run out of tape. Anyway, he sent me a couple of things. Frank knows that I'm a big Star Trek fan, as you can see by my hat here and my shirt. So he sent me this is new for me. I've never had these before. These are Funko Pops, okay? Funko Pop Captain Kirk and Funko Pop Mr. Spock. So thank you very much, Frank. These will go beautifully in my Star Trek room, which is also my computer room. It's over there. You can't see it. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Frank is a great YouTuber who is kind of semi-retired from YouTube. He put out a sign that says "Gone Fishing," which is literally one of the things he's doing rather than making YouTube videos. So anyway, we all hope that Frank will come back and be part of the gang again. All right. Next up is more movies. Starting off with, we're in letter D now. This is Dementia 13, classic little low budget film, the first film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Luan Anders and what is that guy? William Campbell. Nice, interesting. I think this is kind of a murder mystery. Um, I believe this has been released on Blu-ray now, so I might actually upgrade. Okay, I don't believe I'm saying that. I'm still upgrading. Next is a thin pack that I picked up at a flea market sometime. Destination Inner Space. Uh, Weird little science fiction movie with Scott Brady and Sherry North and Gary Merrill. Okay. Sea Monsters. Destination Inner Space. Haven't watched that one in a long, long time. Next up is one of the first science fiction big budget films that came out. I think this is around 1950. Destination Moon, directed by George Powell. Great special effects for its time. In fact, it won. I think it won. Yeah, it was the Academy Award winner for special effects that year. Destination Moon. Really fun to watch. Man, very old school, but that's just the way I like it. Next up is a sort of an obscure item called Destination Space on a double bill with another movie called The Yesterday Machine. Destination Space stars John Agar, and it was a pilot for a proposed television series which didn't make it. And this interesting little movie, okay, 1959, and the double feature. The second feature is The Yesterday Machine starring Tim Holt, and I don't remember anything about that. I'm sure that I watched it, but it's been a long time, so my memory is not very good with a lot of movies. Next up is a terrific Bela Lugosi classic from the 1940s called The Devil Bat, a very, very good, low budget horror film made at PRC, not at Monogram, PRC. And this is a very good Lugosi performance, highly recommended. The Devil Bat. And its sequel, which is not highly recommended, but I have it anyway, Devil Bat's Daughter, came out a few years after Devil Bat, and this is starring Rosemary LaPlante. She was really not a bad actress, but this is a very boring movie. They could have done much more with it, and it's just a lot of talking and not much action. So, Devil Bat's Daughter, right? Next up is a early 60s horror film called Dr. Blood's Coffin. Literally a guy named Dr. Peter Blood, played by Kieran Moore, also with Hazel Court, Ian Hunter. This is a sort of a Frankenstein type imitation. This guy, this Dr. Blood, thinks that he can actually create a human being, but it doesn't work out very well. And some creepy monster special effects there. Great makeup. All right, next up is Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola. Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, Gary Oldman, Keanu Reeves, Tom Waits. I've only watched this once. Didn't like it very much. And I'll probably watch it again and we'll see how I feel the second time. But yeah, I wasn't that crazy about it. To me, it's just a slasher flick with Dracula's name on it. But then I know that's kind of a controversial position. I will watch it again someday. Here's one of the Christopher Lee classic Dracula films, Dracula AD 1972, also featuring Peter Cushing. This is interesting because it shows Dracula as being a part of the youth scene back in the early 70s, and it's kind of interesting to see Dracula in that atmosphere. Okay, so I like this movie a lot. Christopher Lee is always good. Speaking of, we have Dracula has risen from the grave. Yes, he certainly has. Christopher Lee, and who else is in it? I don't know who any of these people are. Doesn't matter. Always worth watching. Christopher Lee. Here's a classic science fiction movie from the late 50s, Earth versus the Flying Saucers, starring Hugh Marlowe and Joan Taylor. Special effects by Ray Harryhausen. I've always loved this movie. Great black and white classic. One of the best sci-fi films from the 50s. All right. Next up is an interesting little movie that I bought because it was recommended by a friend that I used to work with. So it's been quite a while since I watched it, only once. The Europa Report, which is a science fiction film. Let's see. Okay, when unmanned space probes suggest that a hidden ocean could exist underneath of this planet Europa's icy surface and may contain life. So Europa Ventures, this company, they go to this planet, and as I recall, it doesn't work out well, and these people are trapped, and it ends very badly. But I need to watch this again. Anybody else seen this Europa Report? Okay, interesting little movie. And then, of course, we have The Evil Dead and The Evil Dead 2, which are actually very good horror films. I don't watch them that often, but I do like them. Here's a movie I like very much, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which I picked up at Dollar Tree for $3, and it's a very, very good movie about religion and exorcism, and I like it because the priest in this movie is actually seen in a very good light, and I appreciate that. Good film. Next up is a low-budget film from Larry Buchanan called The Eye Creatures, starring John Ashley. And this is almost a scene-for-scene remake of an earlier film from American International called Invasion of the Saucer Man. I almost forgot that title. It's just exactly like it, except this is in color, but it's still kind of fun. I like John Ashley, cool actor. Next up is a terrific horror movie called Eye of the Devil. Highly recommended, man. You really need to see this if you haven't. It has David Niven, Deborah Carr, Donald Pleasance, Sharon Tate, and David Hemmings. Very, very good film. Okay. Next up is this is a again, yeah, it's a Mexican horror film called Face of Terror. Now I got this copy from Brian's Trash Palace, and this is in Spanish with English subtitles. But the one that I used to see on television was dubbed into English. Face of Terror. Actually, a very good little horror movie. I watched this again the other night. It stars a beautiful actress named Lisa Gay, who happens to be the younger sister of another beautiful actress from the 1950s named Deborah Paget, who is probably more well known. But Lisa Gay was very good. And I used to love this movie, so I picked up this copy. Very happy to have it. This is something I picked up at a Horror Hound convention years ago. This is this guy was I still have not watched this all the way through. This guy that I found had a table. He was one of the vendors at Horror Hound. He was selling his own little horror host um, movies. Right. This is Gunga's Drive-In. I don't know who Gunga is. It's this guy right here. But he did Face of the Screaming Werewolf. And I picked this up, always meaning to watch it all the way through, and I get distracted and I haven't finished it yet. But anybody else know who Gunga is? So, here's a classic from Francois Truffaut, Fahrenheit 451. I love this movie so much. Julie Christie, no, not David. It's not David anybody. Who is this guy? Oscar Werner. Julie Christie, Oscar Werner, Cyril Cusack, and Anton Differing. This is from the novel by Ray Bradbury. The novel is terrific, and the movie is also terrific. Highly recommended. Here is another classic film, Fantastic Voyage, Stephen Boyd and Raquel Welch. This is the one where the scientists go they shrink down to miniature size and go into someone's body so they can chase microbes around. So it becomes this crazy adventure where the microbes are the monsters. It's a very cool movie, very well done. All right, next up is Flash Gordon picked this up, Big Lots, and I remember seeing it at the show. It's a lot of fun. Flash Gordon, the modern version. Okay, Sam J. Jones. Next up, this is from 1951, Monogram Pictures, an early space movie, and this one's in color. Flight to Mars, very old school and lots of fun. Flight to Mars. Next up is a low-budget mystery horror film from 1945. It's called Fog Island, starring George Zucco, also Lionel Atwill, Jerome Cohen, Vita Ann Borg. I never pass up a Vita Ann Borg picture. All right. Next up is this is an interesting thing that I found. I can't remember now if I found this at Big Lots or Dollar Tree, but I'd never heard of it before. Julianne Moore, who is a great actress, a great modern day actress, in a film called The Forgotten, which is a very bizarre mystery, one that I need to watch again. It was very cool. I was pleased, very, very pleased with it. This is a Boris Karloff movie from 1958 called Frankenstein 1970, where he plays the descendant of the original Dr. Frankenstein, and he is indeed creating a monster. It's a pretty good little movie. And I have this in the Boris Karloff Bela Lugosi compilation, which I showed you in the first or second video, but for some reason I keep this. I found this at a flea market years ago. Frankenstein 1970. Next up is one of my favorite monster movies from the late 1950s, Frankenstein's Daughter. Once again, we have John Ashley, and we have Sandra Knight, and we have Harold Lloyd Jr. That's right, Harold Lloyd Jr. Just one of the coolest monster movies ever. Okay, Frankenstein's Daughter, and it has some rock and roll music in it too. Here's a classic for you: Freaks, Todd Browning, 1932. A film that is not easy to watch in many spots. Very, very interesting, fascinating film that was banned for a while, and yeah, it's good that it did disappear altogether, but very good movie. Here's the original Fright Night. Roddy McDowall, Chris Sarandon, who else is in that? Amanda Bearse, William Ragsdale, and Stephen Jeffries. I like this movie a lot. I have not seen the remake. Maybe I will one of these days. Here's another walking tree film in that special genre of walking trees from the 1950s. From Hell It Came, and to hell it should go. I always had a special love for this almost bad movie, but it's great fun. Todd Andrews, Tina Carver, Linda Watkins, very cool science fiction movie. Galaxy Quest, still, I've said this before, and a lot of other people have said it as well. It is the best movie ever made about Star Trek and about the Star Trek fan phenomenon. It is a terrific, terrific movie that Trekkies, at least most Trekkies, just really love. Gattaca, starring Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, Jude Law. Another one I picked up with Big Lots. I've only watched it once. I liked it very much. It's all about a futuristic society and class struggles and all sorts of cool stuff. And we have the Ghostbreakers. Bob Hope and Paula Goddard. Also Richard Carlson, Paul Lucas, Anthony Quinn, Willie Best. One of the best horror comedies ever made, 1940. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things about this. Here's something else I picked up at a flea market or a convention or something. Ghost Catchers. This is a Universal film from 1944, starring a comedy team that they had at the studio back then. Olsen and Johnson, Ollie Olsen and Chick Johnson. Also features Gloria Jean, Martha O'Driscoll, Leo Carrillo, Andy Devine, and Lon Chaney Jr. And I admit that I still have not watched this. The print is very bad. I've started to watch it a couple of times, and it's very hard to see. So I'm hoping that someday this will come out on a much better print. But I should go ahead and watch it all the way through anyway. So, and here is Bela Lugosi and the East Side Kids and Ava Gardner when she was just starting out in her career. Ghosts on the Loose, which is a lot of fun. Okay. And finally, one of the best Boris Karloff horror films from the 1930s. This is The Ghoul, an English-made film that was actually, I think it was lost for a while and finally was found and restored. Terrific performance by Karloff, great atmosphere, essential for anybody who likes old horror movies. It's not a Universal film, but it's kind of like it, and it's very, very good. Okay, that's my video for part 5. Let me know if you have any of these movies, and comments are welcome. Take care, folks.